Had a brother with no legs. This dude was putting down on people with no legs.
What you mean putting down for the viewers who don't understand? So
Putting
this
down
guy, your homie with no legs, was doing what?
extortion. You know, if like I said, if you had messed up charges, if you were soft, you had to break it off. Break it off means pay. Pay the man. You got to pay your tax.
What's good, man? It's your boy the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast, where I talk about prison, pre, post, and present, how everything that I experienced throughout my incarceration has forever changed my life. This is the Incarceration.
All right, good afternoon. This is State of Florida versus Stephen Testa with multiple cases before the court.
Forever Convict family, listen, we are on a journey to 50,000 subs. We are over halfway there. So if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Share this channel with anybody who enjoys prison content. And if you don't know my story, I've done over 12 years in prison. And all throughout my incarceration on this channel, I share the crazy, funny, goofy, weird prison stories, as well as interviewing other convicts and sharing their stories as well. But most importantly, we highlight the redemptive stories of convicts coming home, leaving their past lifestyle of crime, and now living successfully in society. So right now I'm about to go link with my dog Kev. Me and Kev did years together. Years ago, I think it was around like 2013 is when I failed my third bid at the beginning of my bid. We were in not only the same prison, but we were in the same dorm. So obviously we did a lot of time together. I think he did like 25, maybe 15. I know he did over a decade for sure. So he's been down for a minute. It's my dog. He just came home. I think it was maybe not even a month ago. So he tapped in with me like a few weeks ago, just tapping in, let me know he's proud of me and everything. He's seen me, on the tablets and the chain gang and how the Lord transformed my life and all that. And of course, I was, doing right, following Jesus in prison, especially that last bit when God transformed my life. So he just let me know that he's proud of me, so it was dope, man. I was super encouraged. I was blessed when he reached out to me, not only with his encouragement, but he's doing amazing as well. So super proud of him. He's killing it. And yeah, I'm excited about to go link with him now. We're about to grab some food, hang out. And of course, man, get some fire prison stories. So I don't want to share too much information about himself. Let him share, his story and his prison experiences. So y'all stay tuned, bro. And welcome to the Incarceration Podcast. I'm about to pull up on my dog. He just pulled up. About to link with Brody. Kev, what's good, bro? Yeah, yes, sir. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
I link with us, sir. Hey, for real, though, good to see you, bro. Yeah, my dog. Kev, my dog, bro. First of all, man, welcome home. Welcome to the Incarceration Podcast. And we're going to go ahead and just jump into your story, bro. So just start by just introducing yourself and then just give us a background story of your upbringing and childhood and just eventually what led you into a lifestyle of crime that led into your prison bids, bro.
All right. My name's Kev. 45. Just got done with doing 15 years for carjacking, attempted carjacking. I grew up in a good home, I guess you would say. Both mother and father, worked all the way through high school. Started getting high, smoking weed, and just doing the guy thing, what I thought anyways. And opened up a business. My parents always backed me, eventually they were my enablers, going through crime. Juvenile, I didn't have no crimes because my parents always got me out of it. So when I turned 18, I started just wilding out, hanging out in the clubs, DJing in strip clubs, managing strip clubs. Got introduced to cocaine, and that was my downfall. So I started committing fraud, went to prison, did a year and a day. It was nothing, came back out, everything was the same, nothing changed. Went back to maybe 3 years later for driving unsuspended, and possession of cocaine. That was the beginning of the end for me. My rock bottom, I thought. Until I started hanging with another crowd. I got introduced to crack cocaine, and my whole life just turned upside down. I was stealing, I stole from my parents even. Wow. So I ended up selling pills, and I have an incident with a CI on an off day, and she tried to rob me. With me having a history, they say I tried to rob her. So they give me attempted carjacking. That's what led to my last incarceration that I just ended a week ago.
Dang, bro. So you didn't even do nothing. They gave you 15 years.
Didn't even do nothing. A woman says I tried to grab her purse and keys as she was getting into a vehicle, and it was just, they had to dismiss the sales charges they had on me with her. So that was their way to get me in.
Dang, bro. So, like, how did that feel? How old were you when you caught the 15? And how did it even, like, feel, especially for, like, being sentenced for a crime that you didn't even commit?
Well, I was 30. I had a 3-year-old son at the house that I had full custody of. And like I said, that killed me. My whole life as I knew it was gone. The upbringing of my child, my parents had to do. Well, I'm sitting in prison, you know, watching my kid grow up through pictures, talking to him on the phone, seeing him in the VP. No way to raise your kid, you know.
That's rough, bro. All right, so let's start getting into your prison story, man. Paint the picture of the first day in prison, bro, and just, like, paint the picture for the viewer of how that looked.
First day in prison. Wow. I was in so I came from St. Pete, so they put me through and it was wild. So I knew what was gonna go on, you know, when you go to reception and TNR, which is transit receiving. So they're known for putting their hands on people. So I see this little white guy, and he thinks he's tough, and the police tell him to bend down and cough. You know, they had her stripped butt naked and put her knees on the bench and bend down, cough, all this and that. And the dude's like, bend down and cough. And the officer just slapped the mess out of the dude. So that was like my first, well, it was the third time in prison, but first experience that day. I seen a guy get slapped down by the police. So I know it's gonna be rough. We started the day off bad. So we go through receiving, another guy comes through, come to find out he's a sex offender. And they don't like sex offenders. So they put a hit on him the first day. Seen this dude get smashed. I'm talking about as soon as he comes out of receiving, before he makes it to the dorm, someone came and just crashed this dude. Once we got to the dorm, everything was straight. You know, for me anyways, because I know the ropes.
All right, that's your first day, man. Let's go into the first prison you went to, man, and just start sharing some memories about that prison and, like, how you did time and just some memories that stick out to you. Funny, weird, goofy, crazy.
Man, first prison I went to, it was Christmas. It was like 3 days before Christmas. Last transfer, they shipped me. Anybody that knows DOC knows that is messed up. The officers there are horrible, and this was back in 2011. So it was rough, but I don't know how to really explain that. The things that I've seen there, I've never seen in any prior bid. The dorms are so huge, the officers can't see nothing. So in the back of the dorm, the punk's got a clubhouse. The gangbangers are over here doing that. So I had brothers and stuff in the dorm. I was affiliated. So they G-checked me and everything. Then everything panned out. You know, I could always call out. So while I was there, there was stabbings every day. Somebody got stabbed. Extortion was really big. If you had sex charge, you're gonna pay, or you're not gonna eat. And then again, if you pay, you still might not eat.
You unashamed about all that time you did? Go ahead and grab your Forever Convict tee, where we're unashamed to share how our incarceration is what God chose to use to radically transform our life. And even though society may deem us as convicts, I'm not ashamed of what God used throughout that season of incarceration to make me to be the man who I am today. Forever Convict.
It was hard on, and I hate to say it, Florida, being what it is, a white boy didn't stand a chance there. If you weren't affiliated, you were dog food. Wow, what else did I see while I was there? Gang fights all the time. Living conditions horrible. They sent me to the what is it? The work camp. And the work camp there was so horrible. Or I think it was a work camp. They had a pride there, so it was horrible. Standing water in the floor. No heat, no nothing. It's infested with black mold. And I don't know what else to say about that. It's just
What about the second prison? What was the experience like there? And, what are some crazy stories there?
second prison I went to, and it wild. I seen officers shoot down on the yard. One funny moment, chicks yelling out the tower, and the teeth come out her mouth. Oh boy, that was Sergeant. Oh man, I can't think of her name now. Dang. But yeah, that was like one of the funniest moments there, and this woman lost her teeth right out the window. Shoot, it was all right. They had a work camp on the compound, so you know things were moving there. Plenty of cigarettes. K2 was just getting introduced into the system real heavy, and dudes were twacking out all over the place.
Can you explain that, like what K2 is and just how that looks like in the chain gang, like this, like the whole process of like the hustling there, but even the smokers and how it affects them and everything for the people who don't know?
Well, at that point in time, the K2 that was coming in is synthetic cannabinoid or synthetic cannabis. It's called a cannabinoid. It's like a green leafy substance. It looks like weed, but it's not. It's kind of looks like grass or mulch or oregano. Some people use marshmallow leaf. So these guys smoke it, and it's spice, and it gives you a different high. It's not like weed. Definitely not like weed. So you got guys smoking this stuff, flopping around like fish, trying to run, hit the door, like they're trying to leave, but they know you can't go nowhere. The door's locked. The hustle there is, wow. You know, guys are going out there in the work camp, bringing it in, and you know, you selling sacks or if you're selling like a gram or whatever, you know, so you can make up sacks and hustle. At that point in time, Cash App wasn't around, so everybody was doing green dots. And we had a major there. They called it, and this woman was running around taking Cash App numbers. I mean, not Cash App numbers, green dot numbers. So she's gonna straighten your pocket. That's the first thing she's gonna do is straighten your pocket. And they're stealing the money off people's green dots. So it was a pretty messed up camp, but you know, you could make your money there. Now it's a incentivized camp, which I heard is pretty laid back, game room, stuff like that.
How about like the K2 nowadays though, and the difference between then and now, and just like what the term that we use, like twacking out. Like explain that for the viewer.
The K2 that they got now is highly concentrated. Before a lot of spots they were getting it, you know, in the leaf form, but now they're spraying paper, like typing paper, white typing paper, spraying this stuff down and sending it in through the mail. This is when they had mail. Now everything comes through a center and they scan it and put it on JPay. But they spray this paper or they soak it, whatever, like you would do a picture. You know, if you're a photographer, you put it in a little tub, put the solution in it, hang it up, let it dry. So they send it in the mail, and these dudes are smoking like pieces, that, like a strip, or in chopping it up, putting it in over tobacco, or just smoking it straight up. And the high they get is, I don't know what it is because I've never done it myself, but they do some crazy stuff, or they just don't want to do nothing at all. They lay around slumped. And twacking out would be when someone smokes K2 and becomes totally whack, belligerent. They can't function. They're doing crazy stuff. Slumped against the wall. So
What's like the craziest thing you've seen someone do when they was twacked out?
I seen one dude get down on his hands and knees like a frog and just headbutt the door trying to get out. Just rivet right into the door. I'm like, oh man, this dude here is losing it. He's definitely going in. That was a that was one of the worst spots there. But I'm telling you, at the time that I was there, actually when I was there with you, there were some wild moments, you know.
All right, hold on. Before we get, you was at the second spot. So any other memories or experiences at that second spot that you can share or remember?
And I was there for maybe about 3 years, but it mellowed out after a while. I seen dudes get stabbed up. One dude was doing something. He was making more money than the next guy, and there was jealousy. So he come along one day and just walking real slow, and just pop dude took off on him and started stabbing him right there in the middle of the floor. The officers came in, sprayed them all with mace, and dude just not stopping. He's just going ham on him. That was about the most severe incident that I seen there. Then they shipped me out for medical, so I was out of there. They put me in a wheelchair and I hung out for a while, and then went to in 2015. Was a known camp for gangland. Same as almost, but it was a newer institution, air conditioned, you closed in, individual rec yards. So there's 2 quads or 2 dorms in a quad. So you got like a big yard here, and you got a dorm and a dorm. So and with a canteen on the yard, and you would see a canteen line. Oh man, I can't even describe how long it was. It was pretty long. You got
The moment that door pops, everybody's running to the canteen line. That was a hustle selling spots, huh?
Yeah, you got guys out there talking about they got a spot for $2, they got this, that, and then they jump in line and sell a spot again. Oh man, the canteen line was the hustle spot. You got guys talking about, that's mine, that one's mine right there, that's mine, that's my chomo right there. He's under me, he's paying right here. So the funniest thing about that had a brother with no legs. This dude was putting down on people with no legs. And it was wild as far as the canteen experience there.
What you mean putting down for the viewers who don't understand? So
Putting
this
down
guy, your homie with no legs, was doing what?
extortion. You know, if like I said, if you had messed up charges, if you were soft, you had to break it off. Break it off means pay the man. You got to pay your tax. Wow, that was fun times there watching all that go down. Things kind of leveled out for a while, and they shipped in a whole group of people from other institutions. It was like a negative adjustment for guys that have been in trouble and coming off CM.
I also have a fire HBO style series chronologically going over my prison experience from day one, all throughout my 12 years in prison. But you got to become a member to this channel. If you're on desktop, that's the only way you can do it. If you're on a mobile phone, you got to do it through Safari, or you got to go to your internet app and become a member. Check out a brief clip right here. It's not directly addressing me. It's not directly addressing anybody. He's just saying it loudly about all the new people. And we weren't the only new people who came in that day. There's people who came in before us. But I'm thinking still he's gonna be the one that tries me. So he goes and he sits down, and I'm sitting on the bench, and all of a sudden someone approaches me. I'm sitting on the outside of the bench and someone stands right over me.
So there was a lot of gang activity that was heavy. And the chow line, when they popped the doors with chow, we got a road in the middle of the compound. We call it the mile. You would have people lined up for half a mile trying to get to the chow. Police in the tower with the gun out, talking crap. You got up on the bullhorn. But that was a spot where if you didn't know what you were doing, you're gonna get hurt. I seen guys just standing there in line waiting to go to chow get hit up. Dude come by and just stab him. You know, someone that paid it put a hit on him. We had a month where the helicopter landed at least twice a day. Dudes getting stabbed, and I remember one incident. I don't know if you were there for that. Guy got stabbed in another quad. They hit him in the barbershop, and they caught him in the neck. Sorry about that. The officer actually saved him. If it wasn't for the officer putting his finger in the wound, dude would have been out of there. I think I'd only been there maybe a month and a half. So eventually they shipped all the troublemakers or who they call troublemakers. Anybody that's name was really ringing in the up top. They got rid of all of them. They actually had a riot. It wasn't really a riot. They ended up stabbing one of the officers, and things broke out, and that's when they made that mass shipment. So once they did that, it changed. Now it's soft. It's real cupcake. They just keep you locked up most of the day, and you go to rec once a day, if that. So after that, they moved me from the main unit to the work camp, which is where they send the guys out to work on DOT and public work squads out there in the city, in the community. And they also have the guys outside grounds, which go outside the facility, but do the grounds work, you know, and up front. So it was laid back there. That was a decent spot till COVID hit, and that messed everything up in the system. Wow.
How was COVID in prison?
Man, COVID was horrible, dog. You got the dorm locked down. They locked down every dorm but one because they said people were infected. And the food, they had people in food service serving nasty food. You know, they were rushing it. You got people dying left and right. We had like 6, 7 dudes die from COVID. All medical was doing was coming by, taking your temperature and putting an oxygen thing on your finger. And you're all right. And keep it moving. That was a weird experience right there. They made us wear these masks that were made of the same material as our jackets. And it was like just a square thing with with strings or these blue strings attached to it, 4 of them, and you had to tie it around. It looked like
I hated wearing those things. Remember they used to make you wear those things for
yeah,
video visit and everything?
Yeah, video
Or
visit.
for videograms.
Yeah, videogram, and you take a picture, you gotta wear this thing, so you covering up your face like a bandana,
You
you
look
know?
like a mutant, so like.
Yeah, it's just a square thing with little levers on it. And the guys are getting creative with it and taking them apart and revamping them and all that. And the officers are tripping about that, you know. And we had a long time where they were messing with us heavy with that, you know. They don't wear their mask, but we gotta wear ours. And that was just one experience that I'm grateful that I didn't die. The guy next to me actually did. I think he worked in a canteen or something, but he was sick and they weren't doing nothing to help him. He went to medical 2, 3, 4 times, and he went in the bathroom and they thought he was sitting on the toilet. They thought he was high. He wasn't high, he was dead. You know, and he had just declared medical emergency 10, 15 minutes before, and they're like, no, just go back to your bunk. So the care was horrible. They don't care about you. They want to do their 8 or their 12 at that time and go home. So I ended up going from there to Reentry, or what they call Reentry. Sent me to CI. And there's nothing Reentry about that. Everybody's getting high. That's ICE Center, you know. You're in County, so that's you know where all the ice is. So everybody there's doing ice, smoking ice, snorting it, and getting high, smoking K2, doing some boxing, you know, just hanging out. Basically, they're just wilding out. They had a therapeutic community TC program, and they made it mandatory for me to go into it, and there was no structure. It was just nothing but dudes doing whatever they do and go into a meeting 3, 4 times a day, or you sit in the meeting from 8 to 10:30, come out for lunch, go back at 1 to 2. And the counselors had nothing going on. It was just no structure, so everyone's just doing what they do. That was one of the worst experiences because I was really needing reentry. What I thought was reentry. You know, I needed tools to get back into society after being gone so long. And it was disappointing when they didn't offer any. So I ended up going back to, which is the reception medical center. I had to have a surgery on my knee. And I never went back. I stayed there for a couple years. They put me back in a wheelchair once they did my surgery and everything, and they messed it up, so they had to redo it. Another wild spot. Robberies every day. Dudes coming in the prison, you know, fresh, and you got all these old guys that are sick and crippled, can't defend themselves. They're taking all this stuff. Police don't care about nothing. They're trying to get a check. That's all they want to do is get that bag. You, that's about all I can explain for there. It's really, you know, the same as everywhere else. Anyone that's done time knows that every institution is pretty much the same when it comes down to the extortion, the drugs, you know, they're all the same. Don't let no one tell you no different. After that, they sent me to a private institution in right outside of Palm Beach. And that was actually a pretty decent institution. They had a good reentry program. Got me connected to get my social security card and the tools that I needed to get back into society. But the same thing is every other spot. You got extortion, you got the drugs, you got the corrupt officers they're trying to catch that check. The gang movement, you know, it's just, that's the influence. That's what's going on. You know, if you're not part of this, you're nothing. You can't do nothing. You're not going to eat. You're not going to survive in there. You know, the prices are high. You barely get to the canteen. You know, sometimes. And there you can get to the canteen. They run it. They had a weird schedule, but they ran it. But the prices were high. So people had to hustle. You know, not everybody's got family out there to support them, or if they do, they're struggling out here. You know, inside you don't recognize or realize that the struggle is not just in there, it's out here as well. And we tend to think that, oh, let me call home and get some money. Mom, dad, grandma, girlfriend, shoot me some bread. And they tell me they ain't got it, so what you gonna do? You're gonna grind. Or if they do send it, hey, push this on Cash App. Grab some dope and do your 1-2. So with any institution, it's all the same, like I said. But that's where I ended up. I did my last year there, and they had programs. Let's see, Thinking for a Change. They had the Jack Brewer program.
What was that, T4C, right?
Yeah, T4C, man. That stuff was whack.
No.
But actually, it had some good points in it, you know, as far as changing your criminal thinking skills and dealing with problems, you know, how to react differently to conflict and stuff. So that was all right, you know. I ended up having to complete the therapeutic program. So I did 6 months in the program, got my little certificate, had a little cake and ice cream for the graduation, and then I moved on to, it wasn't Thinking for a Change, it was some other program, Victim Impact. So in Victim Impact, we sit and watch videos and talk about how victims of crimes are impacted in society. When we do something, we don't think about how it affects this person and that person and that person. It creates a chain reaction. And we think we're just, all right, we're gonna rob this person, but what happened after we robbed this person? And now they've got to struggle to get their money back, can't feed their kids, can't pay the car note, can't pay their rent, whatever. So we that's the things that they teach us about how people are affected by our crimes. People that have killed other people, and how you have a secondary victim. which would be the mother, the father, the husband, the wife of the person that was murdered or assaulted or whatever else. So when a person takes a life, you're actually harming more than just that person. You're harming their family as well.
That's real. So this overall, when it comes to before we briefly talk about your transition home, when it comes to the amount of time that you did in totality, and especially your last bit, the last 15 years, would you say that you feel that it positively impacted your life to where it brought growth and change, or would you say that it had negative effects, or both?
It had both because I had seen and experienced so much and had a lot of losses. I lost all my family. My mother and my father both passed while I was down. My son ended up going with his sister or with my sister to another state. So for 5 years, I hadn't seen my kid. But it also taught me how to be strong, through the losses that I took and the things I've seen. I've learned how to cope with situations better. And that's what's really helping me in my reentry back into society, is that I've dealt with so many different people in so many different situations. I know that out here I can do it. You know, when you're inside, you deal with 70, 80 people in a dorm. So you have 70, 80 different personalities that you have to deal with on a daily basis, not including those that you encounter on the yard, in the chow hall, wherever you go. So if you can deal with that, you can deal with anything or anybody. So that's the way I look at it. It's hard. It's hard coming out, especially so long. You lose yourself a little bit. You think you got it made inside. I can do this. Yeah, I can do that. I'm gonna get out and everything's gonna be all right. But it's not all that easy. You got to prepare for it, and that's where I messed up. I didn't have a plan. My plan got shattered when my parents passed. So I'm struggling right now. I'm just trying to find my way, find my path in life, and make this reentry the best possible for me, because going back is not an option. I've got to stay out for my kid and for me. I got to make an impact. This is my time now.
What's been the most beautiful thing so far with your transition home, and what's been the most difficult?
The most beautiful thing is this freedom. Looking at the water, people running around, the women, just having choice. I can go walk to the refrigerator and grab whatever I want. I don't have to ask permission to go to the canteen. I don't have to, hey, you got a bag of chips over there? Let me store out a bag of chips, or go in my locker and dig around. No, I don't have to do that. I can go to the refrigerator and get it. I can go to the pantry, cupboards, and get whatever I want. Anything but ramen noodles. I'm done with them. The hardest thing is the changes that I've made in society in 15 years. You figure we've been under a rock for a decade and a half. And the only technology we had in there was a tablet like this that you can't really do nothing on unless it's jailbroke. So you're not really seeing anything that's changing in the world. You're not, okay, you're watching TV and you see world events that are going on, but you're not experiencing it. So you're really behind. So that's the problem I'm having right now. I feel like I'm behind. And it's a horrible feeling because there's so much out here, but you just don't know how to grasp it. It's like a sense of not belonging. That's why I came from a time warp.
That's real, bro. You did a great job describing that, man. So for the people who are still incarcerated, what would be your encouragement to them? And for those who are likewise in the same position as you now, just transitioning home, what would be your message to them?
Message to them would be, stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize. Know what you want and get it. Don't let nobody stop you. Don't let yourself stop you, because you can do it. I'm doing it. I had to reach out for help. I had to reach out to EI, but he's talking to me. He's helping me out. So, you know, sometimes you might have to call somebody, talk to them, vent a little bit, but it's gonna be all right. You can make it. I am. My name is Kev, and this is the Incarceration Podcast.
If you didn't know, I am a rapper. My artist name is EI the King. Check out my music on all streaming platforms. Go to my other YouTube channel, EI the King. Check out my music videos. And I'm also releasing a documentary all year. It's really a docu-series, and every Wednesday I drop a new video. As we've been documenting my transition home from prison and society, from the day of my release, we had a film crew at the gate just documenting my transition home from prison, now in society. Check it out on one of these links above.